Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this MOE Facebook Live session on Ask Me Anything About. Okay, today our topic is on how do we help children set goals? How do we help to raise independent learners in our children? Okay, so today we hope to share tips, okay, on how do we help our children set realistic goals, and how do we help our children set goals even beyond the academic, like the areas in developing their interests. Okay, how do they improve their life skills, social skills? Okay, how do they even manage their screen time? Okay, and then we also hope to see how share tips on how can we raise children who are independent learners, who are confident learners. Okay, so we also want to see how we could share information or ideas on how can we help our children develop positive learning disposition, like good learning attitude, good learning, develop good learning habits. Of course, most important, parents, we hope to share tips on how we can manage our own expectation. Okay, because we know every child is different. All right. So today, because our time is quite limited, we only have an hour. So we will try to stay on the topics. Okay. So we will try to answer questions or areas, or concerns on issues that's related to the topics. Okay. And we, as we have our conversation, okay, we will also try to be respectful, okay, in asking questions and sharing our comments in a polite manner. Okay, so we are mindful. We want to really be sensitive to each other's perspective and feelings. Okay, all right. So today, although we may not be able to answer all questions, but parents, please be assured there are many resources out there. Okay, put together by MOE or even by other organization. Okay, do refer to them. I'm sure there are a lot of good advice and tips out there as well. Okay, so today, together with me, I have with Elizabeth, okay, as one of the panelists, okay, and now I invite Elizabeth to share, okay, her to introduce herself, okay, because she's expert in this area as well. Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Hello, fellow parents. My name is Elizabeth. I'm the co-founder of Trehaus. Trehaus is a co-lifestyle space that integrates a business co-working club, preschool childcare, and a family club. And we are that modern village that wants to provide that space for families to play, learn, and work together. I'm also a parenting coach, and I work very closely with parents and families specifically with regard to effective communication with their children. I work with them as well on that topic. And myself, I'm a mother of three. My children are 13, 12, and 10 this year. And yeah, parenting has been quite a ride. So today, I think there's no gold standard that I have to share, but I think we just all want to have a good time exchanging and sharing tips and tricks and strategies that help our children begin a new school season.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, as you know, Elizabeth is the mother of three. Okay, I think as parents ourselves, definitely the journey has not been all smoothing. It's not a smooth journey all the time. Like Elizabeth, I too have three children, so I'm sharing with you as an educator as well as a mom. But my children are much older. My eldest is 31. The second one is 29, third one is 27. Okay, so today let's go into some of the questions raised by the participants here. First of all, we have Alison So. Okay, thank you for asking this question on how should parents calibrate their monitoring of their child's day-to-day schoolwork. Well, today I just heard from a colleague. Okay, she has a camera, okay, on, fixed in the home, and from time to time
CCTV,
when she
huh?
has time, yes, she can even communicate with the children on a day-to-day basis, even though she is at work. So Well, Elizabeth, you're a working mom. So how do you actually monitor your children?
So I think when your colleagues shared about CCTVs, they are very real at home for me as well. I
Mm,
make phone calls back, using devices, we drop in calls. But
mm,
with regard to the question on day-to-day schoolwork, I think it really also
mm,
depends on the age of the child. It's
mm,
very important that when they are young, we just instill the right habits. We get them into
mm,
a routine, especially if it's a school day. And I would say that when the kid is a little older, I'm thinking
mm.
P5, P6 onwards, they should be able to look at their day-to-day work, complete it, come to you with their questions, and then be independently managing their schoolwork. What do you think, Mrs. Lee?
Well, I think as a mom myself, I must say, because being in education, I keep reminding myself that hey, let's not be a helicopter mom. Okay, so I do. To me, no news is good news. Okay, and because we have the meet the parent session. Okay, and I do hear feedback from the parents. So what happened is I thought, over the years when I work with the parents, I thought instead of focusing on monitoring, okay, I thought it would be good to actually look into how do we help the children establish routine. Okay, if the children can establish good daily routine, okay, and of course at the start of the season, maybe getting them to follow the routine, not just starting the routine itself. Okay, if the children can follow the routine, then I think they're pretty much on the right path, on the right track. Okay, so the monitoring will then be less, we can ease off on the monitoring a little more. Okay, so but of course, I think as like what Elizabeth said, it all depends on the children's age group. Okay, it must be age appropriate. I remember someone said, right, the younger they are, it's just like a bee of love. Okay, just freedom is received. The younger they are, I think we give more guidance. The older they are, we hope they need less monitoring. But I guess if the children are doing what they love, hopefully, okay, they can self-regulate, right? Okay, let's see.
Yes,
Well, we have another
agree.
question. Yeah, we have another question here. We have Marie who asked this question: How should goals be distributed across several areas? Okay, wow, Marie is very enlightened. She's checking whether children should set goals beyond academic in their hobbies, even looking after their well-being, even spending time with their family and friends. Wow, very holistic. Okay, sets of
Yeah.
goals. Now, Elizabeth, do your children set goals? Do you guide them in setting goals?
I think it really depends on individual. As
Mm,
you mentioned just
mm,
now, every child is different. For a particular year, let's say it's an exam year, definitely I
mm,
know that particular child's goals would be very largely academic. But
mm,
if it's not a PSLE year, for example, I encourage my kids to really look beyond academics. Think about what they want to
mm,
achieve in terms of their interests. Can
mm,
they set a goal in which it's realistically matched to their interests? Say, for example, they like to play games, right? And then, so I suggest maybe you want to try coding. And then, can we set a
mm,
goal where at least, you get to code a game at the end of the year after going through some lessons? So it's really child dependent, I feel. And I feel that parents need to be very in tune with what their child like and not like, and then parents set goals with their children together across all areas. And you're right, I think Maria is
mm.
very enlightened.
Yeah, I like what you say about being child centric. Indeed, because every child is different, right? I mean, I have three children, they are so different. And some of them maybe really have to focus a bit more on learning. If someone is needing more support in that area. But I think for other children, it could be really managing their screen time, okay? Because the year before, maybe the child was, well, really, can't really regulate themselves. And it also depends on the age group, all right? And in fact, some of the children, when they're in school, when they set goals at the start of the year or at the start of each term, we actually advise the teachers actually advise them, because like some of them have very few friends, and they really want to make more friends. Yeah, and some of them were very good in their CCA. Okay, like the Seka Takraw, and say, yeah, this is our team. Okay, we want to be the top four, and then I think this sort of motivate the children. Okay, I think like what Elizabeth mentioned, some years, okay, they may focus a bit more on academic, especially the P6 year or the Sec 4 year. But I thought, the message to the child is we do have to prioritize things in life. Okay, in that particular year, because that there is this promotion exams to secondary or to JC, so we want to really focus, because in life we have to prioritize. There's seasons in life, and that is just happen to be that focus for that year. But at the same time, I think depending on the child, sometimes if we tell them it's okay, right? There are other things that are more important. Like some of the children, if the health is a concern, say let's focus on taking good care of your well-being first, all right, and then the rest will then follow. Okay, so good. I think. All right, we have another question here. Okay, and it says, is Ching Ling? Ching Ling asked this question. How can I
Homework.
ask how much of homework is sufficient? Wow. Okay, for a P5 or 6 students. Okay, on top of their schoolwork. Okay, wanted to have a balance between academic and free time. Okay, but how much is enough? Maybe I just chip in first, and then Elizabeth can add on, because
I
we
think this is a
manage school
question you need
workload.
to take.
Yeah. But I think after that we can hear from the parents' perspective, okay? Because actually in school, we do have a homework policy. Okay, generally for younger children, maybe it's an hour a day only. Okay, but for some the older children, then the number of hours increases. Okay, so for example, middle primary maybe 2 hours, and then upper primary could be 3 hours. But again, of course, if a child, let's say a P6 child, P5 to 6 child, if they are doing a practice paper nearer the year-end exam, it may take them a little longer time. Again, the teachers do coordinate. Okay, do coordinate among themselves. Okay, how much of homework to give to the children. So, and the reason why the teachers are coordinating is also to ensure that there's a balance. Okay, even in the P6 years, we do tell the children. Okay, when you do your work, try to stay focused. Sometimes it's not in terms of hours. Some kids are so focused, right? Right, they can finish the quality work within a shorter period of time. Some kids like to dilly-dally, and then they get distracted. Okay, then they will take longer time. So our aim to work with the children is, hey kids, okay, let's try to stay focused, right? The shorter time you take to doing quality work, then you have more time to rest, more time to play, more time to relax. Okay, so I think even in P5 and 6, we don't expect the kids to spend hours, 4 or 5 hours a day on in their homework, because if they do regular work, okay, so the kids should be able to, apply and complete the assignment. Okay, maybe come to you, back to you, Elizabeth. Do your kids have to spend a lot of time? Yeah.
I think homework, right, for every parent who is, there is a acronym that stands for homework. You can, go and ask the grapevine. Parents will know. Kids hate homework. They don't like it. They come back.
Mm,
You are right, man. Dilly dally. It's like the last thing they want to do. But I also
mm,
think there's so much wisdom in what you said. It's really about the
mm,
focus, the quantity and the amount. Really, if the school has a good and healthy policy, then back to the child,
mm,
where is the focus? if the child can be a little bit more focused, this can get less pain. It can be less painful, right? So my
Yes,
children,
yes.
I think they have a dislike for homework for sure. And I'm going to really use your advice just to get them to focus, get it done, because this is part of your learning, and then you have time to have free time and play and relax.
Yes, I think like what Elizabeth mentioned, I think kids really, I think they will try to finish their work as fast as possible. I have children coming to talk to me. They say, Mrs. Lee, can you please talk to my mommy? Ask her not to give me so much work. I say, but you finish your work and then, so that you can play. Yeah, the faster I finish, right, then my mommy will give me more. Okay, so then I take it slowly. Okay, so I think then I realized, right, sometimes to motivate the children, okay, it is so that they don't get the idea of I finish faster, then I get more homework. So I think as parents, I think as adults, we need to manage that because then the kids have no incentive to do their work well and do their work fast. Okay, so my general advice is I think because the teachers do design the homework carefully, and we do assign their work, with much consideration. So priority is for the children to finish their work from school first. Okay, sometimes I know the kids may have some enrichment, some help. Okay, I think let's really consider the rest time also for the children. Okay, instead of loading them with additional assessment. Okay, from the bookstores. I think we want to manage so that kids really and see that it is not a punishment. Homework is not a punishment. Okay. All right. We have another question on regarding setting of goals. Okay. Joyce asks if a child has no idea what he wants to achieve, how can we help him to set goals? Okay, Elizabeth, do you have come across this with your own kid? Okay, knowing that three of them are of different age. Yeah, do they know
Hmm.
what they want to do and what they want to achieve?
It's a very good question from Joy. Sometimes our children start out really not knowing what
Mm,
they want to achieve. It's a
mm,
blank for them, and
mm,
we as parents, we can play that role in helping to guide and navigate
mm,
that. It can be silent for a while. I for some children, they might take a while to not to figure out where and what they want, what they're interested in, what they like.
mm,
Um, I feel that as parents, it's important to be patient, and give
mm,
them lots of exposure, expose them to a holistic range of activities and interests. I'm assuming Joyce is asking also holistically, not just academic, right?
mm,
So
mm,
when we expose our children and we walk with them, and then we see that certain areas can be nurtured or certain areas can take on and take off, and then maybe that's where we can say, hey, how about let's set a goal for this area of your interest. Maybe it's in sports or in a
mm,
hobby, or like you mentioned just now, in your areas of your health. um,
mm.
we can slowly from there start. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think knowing that all children, every child is different. We thought it is important to know the child first. To really know what interests the child, what he really hope to do in that new year. Now we are talking about a new school year. Knowing that maybe a child will say, okay, last year I did not do so well in certain things. This year I want to try. Okay, and maybe the child also can, we can have this conversation with the children and ask them, okay, why didn't you do well last year? Okay, what are the things that we can explore together? Okay, I guess that will help the child say, okay, let's focus in a few areas, okay, three, four areas rather than one whole long list. I think it is not realistic. I think especially for young children, I find that sometimes we like what Elizabeth mentioned, we got to walk the journey, have that conversation so that the child can also unpack his own thoughts, right? So because they are young kids, they may not be able to break things down so easily, especially at a young age, right? So let's always ask them to start with something small. Okay, let's say for example, some of the kids cannot get up early. The coming to school every day is a struggle. Okay, so can they like, okay, my goal this year is I want to sleep by 9:30. Okay, and then if
Mm,
the child can sleep at 10 o'clock, hey, let's celebrate. Okay, of course, the next thing is whether the child can get up without, getting without any ends, like, sometimes because they're not enough sleep, right? Then they get upset. Okay, so this one
mm,
example. Another example could be a child being more independent in managing his own routine. Let's say, for example, okay, today, right? Okay, you may have a timetable. For our children, we get them to set after school timetable, so that the children can
mm,
list down what do I want to do after school every day, right? So that if they can fulfill 60% of what they plan, we must celebrate, Okay, and say I'm going
mm.
to
Baby
bathe at
steps.
this time. I'm going to read. Yeah, I got to read. I'm going to spend 15 minutes reading. These are the little goals that we can engage. I think first of all we got to engage them in conversation. Then we can then help them.
Mm,
Say, okay, let's say there are so many things you want to do. Shall we pick up four? I guess with that, it may be able to really help the child really set something that is realistic. Okay, but of course, I
mm,
think for older kids, if Joyce is talking about, okay, older children, okay, sometimes 14, 15-year-old kids may not know, okay, what they want to do next time. I think when they're older, right, I think providing the exposure is useful. Okay, I know that when they see, oh, what are others considering? Not everyone has to be a doctor, a lawyer. Okay, there are so many options nowadays. Okay, I think with the exposure for older kids, I think they will be able to really, set something that is more achievable and something that they may have an interest in. Today, in primary school and secondary school, we have this career guidance, no? Okay, so they can find out more about themselves, their personality, their strength. Then it may also match them with some possible career options in future. I think with that, they may
mm,
be able to then the set goals that's in alignment to that. Okay? All
mm.
right, let's go on to the next question asked by Anusha. Okay, Anusha said, how to make my kids love his new school? Okay, he often complains that the school is long. I guess school hours is long, when compared to his previous Montessori. Okay, definitely. I think I don't know whether Elizabeth you experienced this. I always want to observe the kids on first day of school. But for P1, by 11, 12 o'clock, they all melted away. They all like, some of them is the nap time, right? Okay, for in the kindergarten, preschool, or Montessori. I think that is where they drag school, okay, because school hours seems to be not ending, it go on and on. Okay, so Elizabeth, your three kids are all in upper primary and in secondary school. So how did your kids go through this struggle?
I think Anusha's concern is really the
Mm,
preschool to primary school transition, right, Mrs. Lee?
mm, yes.
That I think is we all have, you know, our primary school children now, they are okay, they are taking the long hours also because they are older and
Mm,
bigger. I think the transition
yes.
comes harder, especially you are six turning seven. And
Mm,
then kindergarten is only 3 hours. Um,
mm,
I think for any parent who's preparing their child from preschool to primary school, definitely have to build up this thing called transition capital. Definitely
mm,
have to get them ready for school, anticipate the hours, practice dropping their
mm,
naps. And then I think talk
mm,
about happy things. Yeah, what we can make, how we can make our kids love the new school is, I think we can talk about look forward to happy things, celebrate baby steps.
Mm,
Yeah,
right.
and even like small things like, oh, you made a friend. Oh, wow, in this school you can buy your own food. Um, I
Mm.
think just let's get excited together with the child. Hopefully, he will love his new school, and soon enough, he will have the energy and as he grows older, he will be able to withstand the longer hours.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think during orientation normally in November, right, before the kids join the P1, the first thing I told the parents is let's adjust the sleeping hours. Okay, because in the past, the kids will sleep at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Okay, but I think the moment, knowing that primary school starts at 7:30, 7:45, and the kids do have to get up around 7 latest. Okay, so I think that is the time they really have to adjust, okay, the routine in the family. Okay, so I think parents make a lot of sacrifices. Okay, they actually tune down on the family programs at home, so that at night, the children will go to bed early. Okay, then only after the children go to bed, then the parents will resume their own work. Okay, so that to make sure that children sleep early. But I think like what Elizabeth mentioned is true. I think talk about happy things. Okay, because children naturally like to play. Okay, they like to play with friends. If you like ask them what is your favorite subject, they say PE. If not, they tell me the favorite subject is recess.
Recess, yes.
Yeah, yes, they say favorite subject is recess, because I think that is the time that they actually interact with friends. By the way, these experiences are also part of education. Okay, where the children learn how to interact with each other, build their social skills, apply being caring, apply what they learn during their character education programs, so that they understand their friends, they support their friends. I think these are good opportunity for them to really practice what they have learned. Okay, during recess time as well. Okay, I think if we can really engage the children and feel excited with them, and then and at the same time they can ask them not just about homework, ask them about what they do. You look through their timetable. Actually, pre-1 and 2, they have like this period called PAL, the program for active learning. They do quite interesting things. Different schools do different things. Okay, so I think when
Mm.
you engage them in the conversation, I think then they will realize, hey, I actually do a lot of things, in school. And slowly after they have made friends, right? I think that is where they will also, look forward to going to school, because they can play with their friends. They can, spend recess time together. Okay. All right. And now we have another question. Okay. Okay. Asked by some parents. Okay. Not just one. Okay. I think looks like it has a lot of it has something waiting here. You say, how do we guide parents so that they can better guide children to be independent learners? Okay, as parents are always busy working. All right. So I guess before we answer this question, right, or share some ideas, it's good to also understand what are the attributes of independent learners. Okay, Elizabeth, what is the understanding about a child who is an independent learner?
To me, a child that's an independent learner is firstly very curious, very,
Mm,
very curious about the world. And secondly, is the child is able to uh, want to satisfy that curiosity and will go and seek that out. So it spans across anything from academic to anything in the world, that they want to find
mm,
out. That to me is independent learning.
yeah, I totally agree. I think the kids, curious, wanting to learn. Okay, because we're talking about not an independent child, but an independent learner. Okay, I guess when they're independent, right, when they come across any difficulty, okay, they are also able to ask for help. Like, they don't see that, okay, asking for help is weak. It is good to ask for help, and they're resourceful, and they don't give up so easily. They have that resilience in them, okay, because they want to learn, okay, and also I think they are, intrinsically motivated, okay. So of course, these are ideal child, right? Okay, ideal child that that all parents hope to have. Now, how do we then actually nurture such a child with a child with such quality? Um, Elizabeth, your children, okay,
Hmm.
I'm sure sometimes, as parents, we don't have all the positive experience. We also struggle and walk the journey
Yes.
with them. Okay, so
Yes.
now
Yes.
sometimes on hindsight, all right, okay, that is
Yes.
something that we hope we had done it during that time, okay, at the right
Yeah.
window. What are some of your thoughts?
I mean, I don't sit down and say, how can I, it's a lot of, like I said, getting to know the child, listening to the child, and then really modeling what I want uh, to s-
Mm,
them to have. So if I want them to have curiosity, parents, I think we also need
mm,
to be very curious ourselves. Um,
mm,
if we want them to have that resilience and that um, readily reaching out for help and asking for help and
mm,
not seeing it as a weakness, having a growth mindset. Let's also
mm,
try our best to have that growth mindset at home in the
mm,
things that we, do together. They can see that, hey, my parents are also, modeling that. So I think the question really is the guidance sometimes, and I also always tell the parents that I work with, a lot of times we guide ourselves first. So I think the question is very great, right? How do we guide ourselves so that we can better guide our children? Yeah, and
yes,
a lot
yes.
of times is we need to find the answers first.
Mm,
We need to go through the journey first. We need to go through the journey of
mm,
having gotten some resilience, displaying some adaptability. And then when our children can see it, it's really just
mm,
modeling, right? And they a lot of
mm,
times a lot of things are caught and not taught.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really the wisdom from a parent with three kids. Okay, I think to raise an independent child, right? This is my observation as an educator as well. It takes time. It really takes time. It doesn't just come like that. So, and I think when they're young, okay, we have to scaffold the processes. In school, that's what the teachers do. When they are younger, we give them smaller tasks, we guide them a bit more, so that we got to let go. Okay, the key word is sometimes we let go. We have to learn to let go. Especially as parents, because we see the child for longer hours, and sometimes I do it for you, okay, or okay, we really scaffold every step for the kids, and sometimes the kids don't even know how to make decision. I remember I was talking to this parent, having a meeting, and then the child called, "Mommy, what food should I eat?" The child doesn't know, I want a snack, because cannot make that decision because mommy planned everything. Okay, so I think
Mm.
if we want an independent child, it applies also in the day-to-day living, not just in learning alone. Okay, so whether our children really have that opportunity, okay, to take charge of their own learning, okay, whether we guide the kids, right? The keywords is guide rather than we plan for them. We guide them to plan. Okay, this afternoon, what do we need to complete? Okay, let the child list it. Okay, how do we? Okay, how much time do we need? Okay, so that
Mm.
from young, okay, they know. Okay, I need to pick up the work that I want to do, or today we want to read what books we want to read. She decide. Okay, and then at the same time, right? I think one thing I learned sometimes, in order to let go, right, we must be prepared to let the child fail, to make mistakes. Okay, sometimes
Mm.
when they make mistakes, then they really learn from the mistake. If they don't, then we can guide them again. We ask them, oh, what happened actually? Rather than getting angry with them, right? I think that's why they are children. They need to be guided. Okay? All right, I hope we
Mm.
answered that. Okay, let's move on to another question. We have Zeti asking, Can I ask how to make the children to have positive and confidence in themselves, to be positive and confident in themselves? Yes,
Mm,
I think some people said, right, Asian children are a bit more reserved, we don't speak out, and
mm,
may not present ourselves in a confident manner. Do you agree,
mm.
Elizabeth?
Yes, definitely. I think culturally, there are a lot more reservations that we have. I think for
Mm,
Zati's question, as a parenting coach, what I always encourage parents to do, whenever your children have signs of like showing like, they're not so optimistic, not so positive, they lack the confidence. There's a lot of thoughts that are very anxious or insecure,
mm,
thoughts of insecurity inside them. This is what in parent coaching we often tell the parents that this emotional flooding that the child has, which you can't see, we need to let it out.
mm,
We need to let the child, we need to reduce the emotional flooding.
mm,
And a lot of times, one of the very useful strategies that we do is we actively listen to the child. Active
mm,
listening meaning it's not just basic listening as in nodding and whatever. We are fully present,
mm,
not judging, and really wanting to listen to what are you feeling and thinking. So for
mm,
parents, it can be as simple as not asking questions,
mm.
just sitting in a conversation, making statements, and getting the child to talk to you. And once you sense that the flood, that emotions that is in the child can come out, that is where we can guide the child. So a lot of
Mm,
times, this positivity, the lack of positivity, comes a lot of internal. There's a lot of internal struggles inside the
mm.
child.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a parent, I think our role is really to actively listen to them and to help reduce that all these emotions and then guide them and then show them, what are some strategies you can do to build your own confidence. Maybe you can smile.
Mm,
Maybe is it because you can't talk to a friend, you don't dare to talk to a friend, or you don't dare to present. We have to find out what's causing these anxieties.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best thing that parents can do for the children is really spending time listening to them,
Mm,
understanding them, feeling what they feel first. I guess, when a child knows that the parents love them, all right, they are already feeling very secure. They have this, the emotionally they are secure. Okay, and then only then I guess they can develop other, then they can become positive and confidence. I thought,
mm,
being the environment plays a big part. Okay, I think in school we try our best, okay, to use language as positive. Okay, I always remind myself, instead of telling the children, don't run, okay, I'll say, please walk. Let's talk softly rather than keep quiet. I guess these are, the language, the positive language actually plays a big part in a child's upbringing. I'm very blessed to
mm.
be a student of this principal, who always tell the children, you are amazing, you're acting, whatever we do, right? I always see her, praising the children, the girls, that girls, you are excellent, you are amazing, and you are really precious, and the children grow up believing that they are precious. Okay,
Yes, positive language.
they're worthy. Yeah, so I think the language itself plays a big part in providing a very nurturing and caring environment for the children. Okay, I think that will. Okay, Jacob
Um,
Tesson, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that
She
previous
said my
question.
kids is in P1 and is showing more interest in sports activities than his studies. Oh, okay. All right. So, how can we find a good balance, okay, between his sports activities and his studies? Okay, Elizabeth, I thought one of your child also have interest in sports, is it? Yeah.
So I don't know whether I can say. If the child is
Okay.
loves sports, maybe you can develop that talent as well. Why
Mm,
not do
mm,
both? How can we find
yeah.
a good balance? Find that good balance. Let's do both. See if he can
Mm,
get DSA or something. I don't know, but I'm a
mm,
firm believer that there shouldn't be a either or. Yeah, so that
yeah.
that really is my
Yeah.
personal belief. I think academic and whatever interest a child has can go hand in
Mm,
hand very well. Uh,
yeah.
on our end as parents, maybe it's just to manage expectations,
Mm,
help the child learn self-care, especially if he's an athlete, manage his
mm.
health, his wellness, his training schedules. At the same time, help him get on speed with, lessons and studies.
Mm,
I think they can go hand in hand.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I have seen actually quite a few athletes, okay, who actually able to excel in both. In fact, I have students who are maybe we're not everyone is an all rounder. Okay, like some people are very good musician but may not be a good mathematician. All right, they have their own strength, right? So acknowledging, first of all, we acknowledge that not every child is talented in all areas. But I think if we are talking about, okay, if a child being not disciplined is another issue. Okay, it's not that
Yeah,
the child not able to study, but not able to manage their time. Like what Elizabeth say, how do they balance their time? I think in making sure that they can regulate themselves. I may I want to quote this name. I'm sure some of you remember Mona Kunalan, okay, Mr. Kunalan's daughter. Okay, she was my student and she's an athlete. Okay, Mona is a very good athlete, a sprinter. Okay, I always remember what she told me. She said, because every 5 days a week she's on the track, 5 or 6 days a week. She said, Mrs. Lee, when others are watching a movie, okay, when others are going out with hanging out with their friends, she spend time on the track, okay, because she knows she still have to manage the studies. So there are sacrifices that she made, but this is a child who's very motivated, okay. And of course, I also see how sometimes teachers, CCA teachers especially, use the sports or the CCA, the interest, the love of the child doing the activity, right? Okay, as a motivation factor. Okay, if you can do this, then we are able to put you in certain competition. If you can manage this, so the child understand. Okay, that is that is the goal that she want to achieve at the end. Okay, so in order to be able to represent the school, she has to be able to manage her time well. Okay, she must be more disciplined. I've seen children, right? Before the training, they did their homework first together. In fact, the CCA come together and then they try to complete their homework. They help one another. Okay, because sometimes the CCA only start, let's say, at 3 o'clock, especially those under the hot sun. They cannot start early. So what the kids do together and the CCA teachers facilitate is let's come together, okay, to finish our work first. Now I am also strong belief. I'm a strong believer of the discipline that is required in the athletes is
yes.
transferable for learning. Okay, the degree of, the extent of focus, being able to focus, during competition. Okay, the child should be
Mm.
able to focus in their studies as well. I remember this vice principal was telling me, he said, there's this group in this school, right? One of the teachers are so concerned about the kids, especially the school athletes not being able, not performing as expected. Okay, but the vice principal told me, just wait for them to finish the season for competition. They will catch up. True enough, every year, these kids, right, after, because they're busy during the competition time. But once the season is over, they plunge themselves in their work. And because they are able to stay focused during the competition, the same level of
Mm.
focus actually was applied in their studies after that.
Yeah,
But of course, I think the
definitely.
guidance from the teachers or from the parents are important. All right.
Mm.
Okay. So now let's go on to another question asked by Eileen. Okay, Eileen asked, what can we do if our children are competitive? Okay, and they have a fear
Mm.
of making mistakes. I don't know whether these are traits of yours, your kids, Elizabeth. As a coach,
Mm.
as a parent coach, how do you advise the parents?
Mm. It's a very, very real question because there are more and
Mm,
more I'm hearing from parents also that their children
mm,
are, wow, they cannot maybe let one mark go, or they
mm,
cannot face the reality that they are not the best, and
mm,
uh, gives them a lot of anxiety, a lot of very, it just concerns parents. And parents then themselves know that this is not real world, right? Real world,
mm,
we would make mistakes, we would fail,
mm,
and it's okay. Um, I don't have answers, but I would really
mm,
encourage parents to expose children to lots and lots of stories all
mm,
around us about people who, have failed, got up,
mm,
had some setbacks. Talk to them, let them read stories about people all around us. They're everywhere now on social media, right? How they are, even people like them, competitive, with like a dog with a bone, cannot let go, but then, they also overcome certain um, difficulties, and they actually learn. Because this is actually something to be celebrated, the competitive
mm,
streak, that never say never kind of very doggedness, is something that's great. And we don't want to quench that. But we do need to, like what you say, scaffold the learning of certain values so that they can be a little bit more whole and a little bit more
mm,
settled in what really is the real
mm.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do come across more and more children setting very high expectation of themselves,
Mm.
right? They don't want to make mistake because they don't want to be worse than others. Okay, so I think I thought when the children set goals and expectation, we always tell them don't compete with others. Okay, compete with yourself. As long as I'm better than last year, I'm making improvement. I'm learning new things. I think these are things to be celebrated. Okay, so and then like what Elizabeth said, the kids may not, tends to be harsh on themselves. They cannot accept that they're imperfect. I think we always come across this term perfectionist. Okay, when the children are perfectionists, I think that's where they become they're very afraid to make mistakes. Okay, I think like Elizabeth, who always assure that her own kids that it is okay to make mistake. I think when the kids them is not dependent on the achievement and the marks that we get. Okay, so they understand that it's okay. I think my parents are really looking at me. How do I do my learning? The process itself is more important than the results. Okay, because I think whatever the children gone through, the experience when they are as students, as children, will actually lay a strong foundation for them when they grow up to be adults. So next time when they are adult, they also understand it is okay to try. Okay, it is okay to make mistake. Okay, as long as I stop trying, if I don't stop trying, I will not fail. It doesn't. I have not failed. All right, because I keep trying. One day I'll be able to achieve what I want. Okay, so I think
Mm.
assurance from parents, they will go a long way. All right, we have
Mm.
another question here. Koya asks, okay, how can parents help their kids increase their ability to focus as they are easily
Easily
distracted?
distracted.
Okay, is it a common problem?
Of course. in a world of distractions, oh
Mm,
my goodness, very hard to get our children to focus.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Um, my take. as a parenting coach, what we tell and teach parents, one of the strategies we have is to modify your environment. If you don't want to
Mm,
see unacceptable behavior, are there
mm,
things in your environment you can modify? So I think this applies to if we are seeing our children not being able to focus, first, can we modify the
mm,
environment? Can we reduce the distractions? Can we set
mm,
certain screen time limits, or I don't know,
mm,
I even have our Google Home remind my children,
mm,
focus, do your work. But how one of the things we can consider is to modify our environment. And then of
mm,
course, definitely as a parent for very young children, at the beginning when you need to set the routine, you have to cheerlead. Yeah, you have to be by the
mm,
side. And my children
mm,
know, I always tell them, I'm not nagging because I absolutely hate you. I'm doing this for your good. I need to cheerlead you, I need to tell you, come, 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 time keep you. We only have 2 days to complete this.
mm,
Let's be focused. Yeah, this is
mm.
from my personal experience.
Yeah, I think indeed today there's so much of distraction, right, in
Yeah.
the environment. I think like what Elizabeth said, okay, I think removing the distractors is one good strategy. And I thought many good habits start from young. Okay, in class, right? I think we are trying. All teachers are trying to practice this. Okay, when we start our lesson, let's remove things that are unnecessary. Okay, keep the learning area clean and neat. Okay, so hopefully they have that will help to remove some distractors. Okay, and also because if the kids are, if from young they get into this habit of learning habits, hopefully that will keep them focused, help them to focus easier. I think there's some wisdom in what our the people in the past mentioned, right? Okay, all right. It is important to, as we when we learn, it should be fully present. That's what the wise people said, right? Fully present meaning my mind, my eyes, my ears, my hands. Okay, so that the kids know. Okay, when I learn, okay, let's learn to underline. Let's learn to pick up, highlight, keywords. All these are actually helping the kids to pick up the focal point. Okay, so I think hopefully all this become a habit and the kids know, okay, I need to stay. That's how these are helping me to stay focused so that I doesn't get drifted. So I don't drift away so easily. Okay, so I think I see some parents actually get the kids to do Legos, or some educational games or toys. Actually, many of these toys, even jigsaw puzzles. I get my students to do jigsaw puzzles during recess time. Because sometimes they have, they have free time, they're not eating. So, and I realize when they spend time, when they focus on fixing the jigsaw puzzles, be it a 50 piece for 35 pieces is fine. Okay, because the children learn to observe and they learn to quiet down and do quiet work. Okay, if the kids are always running, jumping around, I think it's very hard to stay focused. Okay, so I think these are some of the activity we can do with the children, okay, to increase their concentration. All right, let's move on to the final question. We only have time for one final question. Okay, so maybe a more popular question asked by some parents. They say, how do we encourage our children to share their challenges in school with us? Okay, I'm sure Elizabeth, being a parent coach, has a very good relationship and rapport with their children, with her own kids. So, Elizabeth, what is your advice?
I'll share with parents one tip. We always
Mm,
love to ask our children questions after they come back from school, right? And then we want them to talk,
mm,
right? And then we always say things like, how's your day? Or even there are a lot of things that go online that say, don't ask how's your day. Ask like maybe what's one thing you did that you are proud of.
mm,
Um,
mm,
the thing about asking questions is the person that's answering needs to think about two things. Do I have the
mm,
answer? And do I want to answer? So a lot of
mm,
times when we pose questions to our kids, it might be we might not get them to talk to us as much. So then how do we
mm,
start a conversation with our children? I would say a very useful tool is to actively listen with non-judgmental statements. So make statements like, this looks like a really exciting and happy day for you. You are smiling. You are back smiling. Or say things like, this has been a very tiring day, and then from there, you start, what we call door openers. Tell me more. Maybe you want to tell me more about your day.
mm,
So
mm,
I feel that this really can start a conversation better than just plain asking the children, how's your day? What happened in school today? Tell me. It's we have to connect with them. Yeah.
mm,
And connecting sometimes doesn't mean questioning incessantly. Maybe just having very objective sentences and statements of your observations about how he's feeling and looking may help.
mm. Yeah, I think the key word that I picked up from what Elizabeth mentioned is the connect, being able to connect with the child. I guess to connect with a child, right, we need to have relationship.
Mm,
That there is a good relationship between the parent and the child. Okay, meaning, okay, we know their friends. Okay, we know their what they know the routine in school. Okay, so that the child like is find that it is natural things to share with the parent. Okay, they must be able to share with them their daily life. Okay, before or their friends before they share with us their challenges. Okay, because I think that without relationship, I think people will not open. Okay, the doors will not open. Okay, so
yeah,
I think
definitely.
I'm sure parents we all want to have good relationship with our children, especially when they grow up older. Okay, even when my son is 31 years old, I think I still feel very happy when one day she can, when you can call me and say, Mom, I'm having a tough day. All right. And then to really
Mm-hmm.
understand, hear you, like what Elizabeth said, listen, be present and listen to them. Okay. If they share with us and then we are looking at our phone, we are being distracted, then I guess after a while they don't want to talk to us anymore. Okay. So I
That's right.
think being there for them, then they know mom is there to listen. And then like if we are not here to pass judgment, to make certain remarks, sometimes they just want to share their thoughts. Okay, they may not be asking for an answer or solution. Okay, they just need to share, okay, their feeling. Okay, so I think really being able to connect is so important. Okay, and I also feel that sometimes it is okay for them if they don't share with me, it's fine. If they want to share with their
Mm,
siblings or share with my husband, it's also fine. Okay, they want to share with their friends, it's also fine. Because sometimes if I know their friends may just text me, Auntie, I think your daughter is going through some difficult time. I think it's okay. As our main objective is the child has that support, emotional
mm,
support. When child feel distressed or feels upset, they have someone to talk to. All right, and I'm sure okay there will be support system you know, around us. I thought one thing that I learned, okay, especially when the kids are older meaning to me, they can be 10, 11, 11, 12 years old, the older even more, I think it works even better. Sometimes I share with my own kids, oh, your mommy have a tough day. I share with them my own challenge because it is both ways. Communication is
mm.
both ways. I have to open up myself to them as well. I tell them,
Yeah.
I come across this very difficult time, in my work. I think the children also understand daddy and mommy are human as well. And then, we can share with one another. All right,
Mm.
I hope we are able to, share some of our experiences and find these experiences useful. Okay, and we have come to the end, Elizabeth, so quickly we have come to the end. We are hitting, it's almost 9 o'clock. So parents, I hope today, okay, we are able to, have some ideas on how do we help our children set realistic goals. How can we, bring out confident, independent learners in our children. Okay, and I also hope that we also share information on or tips on how we can help our children meet the expectation, or how can we manage our own expectation. Okay, so to me, I think it's important to really, I think Elizabeth and I think your thought is most important to really know our children. Okay, be child centric. Okay, and we want to empower the children to make decision, to manage their own learning. Okay, to take responsibility for what they are doing. Okay, and then I thought it is also important to for parents, okay, to know that the school is with you. Okay, we are not walking this journey alone. Okay, we are able to work with the school, partner with the school, so that we are able to bring out the best in our children. Okay, and then at home, we want to provide a very positive environment for our children. So I'm sure, okay, with all the love, okay, showered on them, I'm sure the children will grow up in a very nurturing and caring environment. Okay, so that they know emotionally they are well supported. All right. So parents, thank you for joining us today. Okay, and but if you can't find enough tips here, there are many resources out there. I want to strongly recommend one resource that I share with my school parents. That's on Instagram. Okay, it says I think that is you search, okay, parenting with moe. I think it's something like that. Okay, so you do visit that, follow that Instagram is very useful. Okay, I myself is learning important, useful tips from there too. Okay, lastly, I thought, maybe we ask Elizabeth, is there anything else you'd like to share with the parents? Last sentence?
No, parenting is an adventure, just let's do our best.
Yeah, I think three children, three different adventure, three different journey. Okay, don't compare the kids. I think enjoy the journey with them. I just have one last sentence. Okay, parents, uh, as parents, we all want to provide a good start for our children. We hope that they can do well at the starting line. Okay, so they have a good start. But I think it's more important that to know that learning is a lifelong journey. Hopefully, when we help them build good habits, nurture good attitudes in them, they will have a strong finish at the end of it. Okay? All right, with that, thank you very much for joining us, and happy parenting. Stay well, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.